As the Hawks offseason continues to go along, the search for a new president of basketball operations starts to get a little more interesting as NBA insiders are starting to reveal a lot about the Atlanta Hawks and what they plan on doing with that position, hoping to get somebody in at least around the time when the draft comes around or a little bit after that. But besides all of that, let's go ahead and christen the show. What's going on, everybody? My name is Walter Pollard. This is Atlanta Hawks Digest. And definitely happy to be here with everybody. Hopefully you guys had a great Mother's Day with all your mothers and stuff like that. It was awesome. Definitely awesome. Definitely want to give a shout out to everybody who has definitely been viewing our content. We do appreciate you guys. Myself, Chris Tipmore, everybody over at Digest Media, we definitely appreciate you guys and thank you for viewing our content. Definitely continue on and hit the like, share, and subscribe button. The 34% of you guys, we do appreciate you. Thank you so much. And the 65% of you, listen, we ain't tripping. Just definitely hit the like, share, or subscribe button. We'll definitely hit the subscribe button, but send it to somebody that you like or that anybody wants to hear about the Atlanta Hawks. Send it to somebody else. Listen, send it to everybody, okay? We want to make sure that everybody is listening to Hawks Digest, and as things roll along, we want to make sure that we are the first place that you go for more Hawks information and Hawks updates, because me and Chris Tipmore are definitely on our job. Now, let's go ahead and get into it, okay? So the search does continue for a new president of basketball operations for the Atlanta Hawks. It is something that is definitely important, I will say, for the Atlanta Hawks. They want to get somebody in, at least, well, of course, the draft is starting to come up next month, so we definitely want to have somebody in as soon as possible. Of course, we know that Landry feels he was given the boot towards the end of the season, and that is mainly because, the Atlanta Hawks have been repeatedly going to the play-in round, and the last 2 years they have been bounced out of the play-in round. Of course, the year before by Chicago, and then this past year we were bounced out by the Miami Heat. So definitely it was time for some change. We definitely do appreciate Landry Fields for what he brought to the table. He did get the #1 draft pick, brought in Zaccharie Risacher. I think that is awesome. Major shouts out to him. But besides all of that, it is time for some change right now. Ansai Saleh is the new general manager for the Atlanta Hawks. And, of course, we are looking for a brand new president of basketball operations. Now, the Atlanta Hawks, they have expressed that they want experienced former executives. Okay, so that means that, of course, earlier I had brought up the fact that Shareef Abdur-Rahim was on the list of different potential candidates. Shareef Abdur-Rahim at one point did play with the Atlanta Hawks. So it would have been interesting to see if he would, be able to come to the Atlanta Hawks and make a difference, which would have been great. You dig what I'm saying? I mean, you got Joe Dumars, working with the Pistons. So, of course, that you get what I'm saying. So regardless of all of that, be that the Hawks want experienced executives, that eliminates him from the runnings, unfortunately. Be that he is an executive in the G League. Now, I'm not saying that discredits him, but I'm pointing out that the Atlanta Hawks want experienced general managers, guys that have been in the NBA, that could either be coming from another team or, have been with the team at some point in time. So the Atlanta Hawks expressing that, it does shorten up the list just a little bit. And of course, I've said different names, of course, like Calvin Booth, who's the former general manager of the Nuggets, former general manager Monty McNair for the Kings. Those are just a couple of names that, I did mention in the last video. Well, of course, the last video I was talking about general managers and, the Hawks searching for them. I also mentioned Elton Brand. Now, remember Elton Brand, he did say that he was interested in staying in Philadelphia. He made sure that he pointed that out. He said that his focus was with the Philadelphia 76ers. Last year, of course, they had a terrible season. Of course, they barely even saw their big three, Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, and Paul George. I mean, I don't even know why Paul George would even be included into that, but he was. So I feel as though That's a good move for Elton Brand. I'm happy that he feels as though he needs to stay in Philadelphia. Don't bring any of that bad juju down here. But with that, again, he's taking himself out of the runnings, and the list has gotten a little bit smaller. But that is okay. That is completely okay in my book, because with that, the Atlanta Hawks are highly pursuing two candidates that I feel could possibly be the new president of basketball operations for the Atlanta Hawks, one of which I feel as though would be a big jump for the Atlanta Hawks. You guys see him every day on TV anyway, so you'll know who I'm talking about when I get to it. But with that, I want to point out that the Atlanta Hawks are pursuing Bob Myers, former general manager of the Warriors, and Danny Ferry. Now, of course, you guys remember, give it up. Give it up to him. Now, Danny Ferry, you guys remember Danny Ferry. He was the general manager with the Atlanta Hawks back in 2012 to 2014. In that time that he was with the Hawks, they went 82-82. He was responsible for bringing certain guys in like Dennis Schroeder. He traded for Damari Carroll. I want to say that he was involved in a few other drafts that brought in good talent to the Atlanta Hawks. He was even involved with getting Elton Brand with the Atlanta Hawks down here for the short stint that he was with the Atlanta Hawks. So, of course, that would be somewhat of a and I should have brought the let me get the yeah, there you go. That guy, Danny Ferry. But yeah, just again, he was involved with the Atlanta Hawks around that time. Now, unfortunately, towards the end of his tenure with the Atlanta Hawks, some words were said about Luol Deng, and that was a whole nother debacle. Of course, it was looked into, and of course, it was not racially charged, if you will, but the fact is it just wasn't right. It didn't sound right. And I'm not bagging on Danny Ferry. Again, if he has done a good job, which I remember the different things that he did do, bringing in the guys that potentially helped the Atlanta Hawks get to where they were in the 2010s, from 2012 to about 2017, 2018, the Atlanta Hawks were okay. You dig what I'm saying? I think at one point they did get to a Eastern Conference Finals versus the Cavaliers. Now, again, Danny Ferry wasn't with the Hawks at that time, but a lot of the things that had happened prior to a lot of the players that he had got on that team was definitely there. Now, when I talk about Bob Meyer, he's pretty interesting because he is the architect of one of the, in my opinion, one of the best eras in basketball that really weirdly is still continuing on today. He was responsible for getting guys on the Warriors like Draymond Green, bringing guys in like Andre Iguodala, Andrew Bogut, Sean Livingston. I mean, the list goes on and on, the different peoples that he brought to the Warriors. And I'm looking at a graphic here. And again, no one has had more championships with 4 in the time that he was with the Golden State Warriors, more All-Stars, which were 23, than Bob Meyer. Now, again, big up to Bob Meyer because, again, he works on ESPN, doing the pregame show. And if you would ask Bob Meyer, hey, do you want to still be there? I'm pretty sure he would say no. He wants to be in somebody's front office somewhere. Again, I feel as though he could be somebody that could definitely be a good, just the key thing that we might need. He might be the one to bring folks in that need to be here because, of course, I've seen you guys' comment, and I feel the same way. We need a bona fide big. We need somebody that can come in and actually do some damage on the inside. And, of course, again, this guy is responsible for almost everything that the Warriors have right now. Steve Kerr, Bob Meyer was one of the, he was the president and general manager that brought in Steve Kerr, that brought in finals MVP Kevin Durant. He was the one that was able to get those things happening for the Golden State Warriors. In my opinion, I feel as though he should be the person that come to the Atlanta Hawks and get these things up and running. Again, two-time NBA Executive of the Year, four-time NBA champion. In 11 years, this guy has done this for this organization. And oftentimes in the church, we oftentimes say, Lord, I've seen you do it for others, but can you do it for me too? Listen, Bob Myers, you have done it for an organization. Can you do it for the Hawks? Because this is why I get excited, because I feel as though the Atlanta Hawks, they know what they're trying to do, and I think they know who they want to get in. If Danny Ferry is somebody they want to bring back, I'm sure that he has something that he wants to finish. I'm sure that he has something to bring to the table that can actually help the Atlanta Hawks. But in my opinion, if I could bet my last check, I would want Bob Myers to be with the Atlanta Hawks, because if he has done that with this different team, you dig what I'm saying? Then I think he would be a great asset for the Atlanta Hawks and the Atlanta Hawks front office. And if that can happen, listen, the sky's the limit. Listen, the Atlanta Hawks, we've gone through so many different changes for so long, and I understand where you guys, are just standing right now. You guys want something tangible. We want a championship. And if that is to happen, the Atlanta Hawks, they got to get on the ball now. I can rant all night about this, but you guys know what it is. With all that being said, this is the Atlanta Hawks Digest. My name is Walter Pollard. You always know it. You already know what I'm about to do, guys. I'm out. Peace.